Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of This Week in Pali Football. I'm your host, Facebook James. That's what they call me around these parts. Check it out on the other side of the intro. We're going to recap the game against Domley, round 2. And then we're going to get into round number 3 against Narbonne. So stick around. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, go Pali.
Hey, win on me, win on 3, ready, 1, 2, 3. Win!
Oh, yeah!
Stop playing with a beat! 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 Stop playing with a beat!
Some call it the gridiron.
Nice route, way to skim it.
Others, 100 yards of pay.
Too much.
We just like to call it football.
Football.
With Facebook James.
Football, baby.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of This Week in Pali Football. I believe it's week number 13, so we're just so happy that we're still playing football. A lot of teams are not, but we're happy. We're happy that we're playing football this time of year. So thank you for tuning in wherever you're watching from. I'm kind of kicking back in the hoodie. I got my Pali football pajamas on, just chilling. Just man, it's nice and nippy outside. So hopefully you're staying warm, definitely staying dry. We really needed the rain last week, and so just again, just so happy that you tune in. And we're just gonna go ahead and get into this thing, man. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk about this game against Domley, right? It was a wonderful game, and our boys were victorious again. So that's always a blessing. Continuing on in the playoffs. And so let's go ahead and hop into, like I usually do around this time, the updates, right? So we know that we have a football game this coming Friday. And so, if you're a dad, you want to, or if you're a mom or auntie, it doesn't matter. If you want to hop on the chain gang, even though that might be already taken, I think I've seen the same dads on working the chain game for the past few weeks. So those slots might have been gobbled up already as soon as we found out that we had a home game. But yeah, so maybe next year you can sign up. This will actually be our final home game of the season. That's right. We're in the semifinals, and so this is the last game of the season. So I believe the dance team is coming out. The band has always been there. I think there's a food truck coming. So we're really trying to give our boys a good send-off and, really want them to play very, very well. So, again, if you're unable to sign up, there may be a slot left. You just have to kind of check the link to see if there is a slot. And if you want to work the chain gang, that'll be so cool. And then, as always, it's still not too late to get your Pali merch. From what I understand, I know last week the merchandise store was closed. The table was not set up. And so it's cold. It's kind of chilly. If you want to get your Pali football hoodie, shirts and things of that nature, go over to pressandsew.com and you can still order your items. Even though we're nearing the end of the season, you still can go ahead and get your Pali football merch and represent. And then we know how we got here, right? But let me just remind you how we got to where we are. So, we went 7-3 in league, and then we played against Huntington Park. We won that particular game. I believe it was 48-0. And so then we continued on last week. We played Domley High School. And so we won that game 42-14, I believe. And this is where we are right now. We are in round. Here we go. Let me see if my graphic's going. There it is. Round 3. We're playing Narbonne, and Narbonne has had a history of winning football championships up until a few years ago. They got in trouble They got a hand slap by the district, and so their coaches who were there, they were all excused, and so they're rebuilding that particular program. But Narbonne was like the city football giant. Before, I guess now you could say maybe it's the San Pedros or the Birminghams who are kind of, in that same vein. However, we know that Birmingham is out of the playoffs. We know that our arch rival, Venice, is out of the playoffs. I'm sorry, Birmingham is still in, but Venice is definitely out because they played last week. So Birmingham won that contest right there. And then so yeah, we want everyone to come on out to the Stadium by the Sea. This will be our final home game of the season. If we win, we'll play in the city championship. And I'm looking at the bracket. That time and location has not been determined as of yet. Most likely, it will be on Thanksgiving weekend, that Friday or Saturday of near the end of Thanksgiving. So we'll but first things first. In order for us to advance to the championship, we have to take care of business on Friday. So we want everyone to come on out. We want to pack the stands. I know it's a long gap in between the close of the school day, the instructional day for the students. But, man, we're just asking students, we're asking staff, we're asking parents, family members to come on out, the media, even alumni, come on out and support this wonderful occasion. This will be the second year in a row that we will be playing in the semifinals. Last year we played in the open division semifinals and lost to San Pedro. And so this year we're playing against Narbonne. And so we're going to see what that looks like. And then if you're unable to come to the game, then yours truly will be on the microphone like I was, like I've been every single Friday or Thursday this season. And it's kind of funny. I don't think I've missed a game this season. I think I've called all of the games. Usually I would miss one or two games because of, just some family commitments that we have, my wife and I. And so, yeah. But I think we've made all the games this season. So that's pretty cool. So, yeah. We want you to come on out. If you can't come out, listen on Facebook. All you have to do is just go to Pali HS Football on Facebook. Tune in. I'll probably go live like around 7:20. Sometimes it may be a little earlier. It just depends. Around 7:15, 7:20. And then we'll go ahead and get the shenanigans underway for the evening. And let's go ahead and dig into some of the comments. I see some of the usual suspects, usual people who are watching. So, again, I was just checking to make sure that, I can post. And so if you're watching from Facebook, hey, go ahead and drop a comment, like our good friend Maureen LaScala. Maureen did. She said, go Pally. So we appreciate you, Maureen. We appreciate you watching. And then also, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, you can drop a comment from YouTube as well. All right. Now, you might be watching like sometimes my friend Craig Wesson, he might watch on Twitter. And so you might, if you can, drop a comment. Let's see if that feed works as well, if you're able to drop a comment during the broadcast. But anyway, let's go ahead. We've taken care of the updates. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about why and how we got here. However, let me just do something really quick. Give me 1 second here. Let me just, okay, there we go. All right, so Maureen asks, how is the health of the boys? You know what? That's a good question. That is a good question. Hopefully, Maureen, the health of the boys is going to be good and well. Normally, I don't talk to the boys until maybe Thursday or Friday. And so, my son hasn't told me any big things in terms of the players being out. I know they had a couple of days to heal, a 3-day weekend. And so I know the coaches were encouraging the boys to just kind of take it easy over the weekend. Rest your bodies, get whatever necessary treatment. And so I know we had a couple of guys who went out in the game. Mariolas, he was kind of out. I think Chris got injured. But knowing those guys, those workhorses, they'll be back. And there were some others as well who got injured. But I know those guys will be back. They're not going to miss this game, for something that's small. So they're going to be, I'm sure we'll be fine, ready to go. And, I appreciate your question, Maureen. So let's go ahead and kind of dig into what we got here. So first up, let me just show you the bracket that we're working from right now. So You guys remember this particular bracket? And let me see if I can bring it in just a little bit so you can see the full bracket. Let's see, you should be able to see it now. There we go. Okay, so that's the full bracket right there. And if I were to trying to keep everything on the same screen. So 16 teams, 16 teams. And it looks like we might be on our way to play either, again, if we win, Granada Hills or Cleveland. So that's the brackets right there. It's an amazing lineup of teams. And so there's our bracket down here, the lower bracket. We were ranked at number 3 in this particular bracket. And so we beat Huntington Park again, 48-0, 42-14 last week. And, we're going to recap, look at the box scores and then kind of preview what's going to happen here against Palisades and Narvon, okay? So let's go ahead and hop into the box score. So last week, the challengers, as they're called, the challengers, they were pretty challenging for a while. They scored 14 points, and our defense was really, really on point. If you looked at the previous game at Huntington Park, they had a smaller team, but our defense did not allow them to score. This last game, they dominantly did score 14 points, but I think it was a real defensive contest. Our boys, we had so many guys who had, double digits in tackles. Some of the guys had sacks. And so let's go ahead and dig into what we looked like this past Friday. So here we go. Here's the box score. So it just kind of shows you how we scored during the game. So we scored 3 touchdowns in each of the quarters. And in the fourth quarter, man, that was just, somebody went off. So that's how we kind of scored. We allowed them to score in the second quarter and third quarter. And that was our final score, 14-42. All righty, so they didn't post any stats, but let's go ahead and break down some of our stats from our game. So we have Roman Lascala, our QB. He was 5 for 13, 84 yards. He had 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So, off the bat, you might say, okay, our passing game needs to kind of get a little bit better, I think. However, Roman was able to run in for a touchdown. He was also able to pass for a touchdown, too. So he had a couple of nice runs. I think the first score was him running on a 10-yard, just kind of up the middle a little bit, and he was able to score. And then later on, he threw a touchdown in the third quarter. So, I would like to see us get a little bit more yardage in terms of passing. I know some of our receivers would like to get the ball in their hands as well, and get into the end zone. And so if we can have that, bumped up a little bit, that'll be awesome. And then rushing, our rushing game was pretty tight. Chris Washington, he had 21 carries. You talk about a workhorse, right? 21 carries for 176 yards. His longest was 22, and he was able to get a rushing touchdown as well. Xavier Riley, man, 9 rushes, 145 yards. His longest was 68. He had two rushing touchdowns, right? And then Roman, like we just said, 8 rushes for 40 yards, and then he was able to score, and we just talked about a couple of moments ago. So, our running game was on point. And, when Chris went down, Xavier's like, all right, I got you. I mean, because, when he started to run, I think in the mind of the coaches, and I haven't talked to the coaches, but in the mind of the coaches, they're like, okay, I think we got this. Our defense is pretty solid. Chris is down. Let's just go ahead and get the ball to Xavier and let him, just kind of chew some time off the clock, right? Anthony Lieberman, he did get in a couple of times. He was able to get in. And I know he's just, he's not healthy yet. He's not healthy like he was at the beginning of the season. So Xavier got the ball, and he just kind of did what Xavier does, right? And so he ended up, with a nice night, 3 touchdowns. But again, I think they just wanted to give him the ball because they felt the defense was going to hold the team, was going to hold dominantly from scoring, and they just really wanted to chew some clock. And so they were like, hey, let's go ahead and give it to Xavier. He's third in line, and Xavier did what he did on Friday night. So, and then receiving, Amari Yolis, the man with the green gloves, he had 15-yard reception. Marcus Brown Jr., he had 2 receptions for 48 yards. And then we talked about Xavier, and then Braden Sanford doing this thing as well. So it was a pretty decent game. And then when you look at some of the all-purpose yards, I mean, again, Chris's 176 yards kind of jumps off the page. Xavier's 145 jumps off. Roman, he had 40 additional points just rushing. So if you look over here, look, Marcus Brown accounted. That might be okay. Marcus Brown accounted, according to this, for 159 yards of receiving, or just all-purpose yards. Sorry. Chris Washington 176, Xavier Riley 174, Roman 40. So we had 567 yards of total yards, all-purpose yards, and that's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Pretty impressive by our squad. And then you see some of the total yards as well. So Roman 124 overall, 84 yards passing, and then 40 yards rushing, 124. Xavier Riley 164. Chris Washington 176. Marcus Brown 48. So yeah, so those are the stats. Even though they kind of look a little bit off, I'm not too sure. It says all-purpose yards 159, and then for Marcus Brown it says 48. Hey, it is what it is. But let's look at some of these tackles. This is what when I saw this, I was really impressed because the boys showed up and showed out. So look, Amari, he had a tackle. Marcus Brown Jr. had 8. Xavier had 7. Javon Alexander had 6. Evan Narenberg, he was all over the place. He had 4 with Jabari and Matthew Spooner-Moore. Jake Tribach, he had 7. And then let's jump all the way down to Jesse Edis. Jesse was all over the place. He had 14 tackles all by himself. 7 solo, and then 7 assisted tackles. And then Cash Allen, he was all over the place. We had 81 tackles on Thursday night. Pretty impressive. So defense, again, if we can continue to put that pressure on their QB, and stop our receivers, stop that whole, their offensive line from, allowing their running backs to get open, then, I think we have a good chance to win this game. And then here are some of the sacks. Like I said, Evan with his 4 tackles, I don't know if these sacks are included, but hey, he had 3 sacks. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You see Jesse Cash, Eric had 2. So man, they were all a total of 8 sacks. So the defense was doing what they normally do. We've always had a good defensive squad, right? And we had some interceptions as well. Looks like we had Marcus Brown had 3, Joe Fallon had 2, and Isaiah Sensabaugh had 1. So we were all over the place, man, just doing what we need to do. And we had a wonderful time this past Friday. So hopefully the boys can continue. We need them to continue, especially as we move on. Let's kind of preview our next game, right? So that was Domily Challengers, the box score. Now let's kind of look at what we're getting ourselves into now. Like I said a few moments ago, Narbonne, they have a history of winning some championships. And I'm not too sure if all of those championships that they won were vacated. I'm not too sure. Hey, Pete, what's going on? But we don't care about the past. What we care about right now is the present. We care about the present. So here's what the Gauchos are getting into. The Gauchos are 6-6. You're probably saying, how does a 6-6 team get into the playoffs? Well, if we go back to our bracket here, Narbonne, they played Westchester, right? That was their first game. Narbonne won 28-13. And then Narbonne last week defeated Carson, who was a higher seed. We were all expecting to travel to Carson for the next game. However, Narbonne said, hold on, we might be ranked number 10. We got something for you. So they probably traveled. In fact, they did travel to Carson. Now, they're in the same Marine League, I believe. So they faced each other during the season, right? In fact, I believe Carson blew Narbonne out. I don't even know if Narbonne scored a point during their earlier matchup in the season. So Narbonne's like, hold up, excuse me, time out. I got something for you. And so they put up 2 more points than Carson, and they defeated Carson. So, anything can happen on any given Friday. You guys remember that movie, Any Given Friday? Anything can happen. And so, we're not going to just lay down and just say, oh, okay, they're 6-6. And no, the boys still have to play the game. And that's basically the name of the game. You got to play the game to win, right? So here, the Gauchos are 6-6. The Dolphins are 9-3, right? We know how we got where we are. So here are some of the scoring averages by team, right? Palisades is averaging about 36 points per game. Narbonne, on the other hand, is averaging 18 points per game. But last week, they scored 34. So when you look at the data, even though the data says, okay, Pali should win this game, yeah, we don't want to be a Carson, right? We don't want to get overconfident. We want our team to do what they need to do to stop them. So that's one data point right there, right? And then if we just look at the team comparisons, right? Yards rushing per game. Palisades 174. Chris had a whole bunch last week, right? Xavier had a whole bunch last week. Their average is just 100, right? Passing yards per game, 165 for Pali. For Narbonne, 160. If you just kind of round up 159.2, just kind of round it up to 160. So that's very, very close. It's off by 5 yards. Total yards per game, 340, whereas Narbonne, 260. Again, we're going to round up 0.5. Yeah, we definitely can round up. Tackles per game, 57. They're averaging 28. Okay, in my mind, that says, okay, they're not a team that knows how to tackle, right? Last week we had 81, but our average is 50. So just on that data point, okay, we should our defense is pretty solid. Sacks per game, we're averaging 3, they're averaging just 1. And then points per game again. Now here's a discrepancy I have with Max Press, because some of these stats they kind of give, it's like, okay, you just said over here that they're averaging 18. Well, okay, so let's look at it. They're saying in this data point that they're averaging 10.3 points per game. And Pali's averaging 36.2. So if we scroll back up, what does it say? 36.3, very close. And then over here it says 18.4. So somewhere between 10 and 18, that's their average, okay? So maybe 14, 15 points per game. All righty. And then some of the team leaders for our team as opposed to their team. Chris Washington, he's averaging 109 yards rushing. Nick Leonard, 82. Roman Lascala, 132 yards per game. Ooh, Ryan Corley, okay, he's averaging 191 yards per game. Okay, that sticks out in my mind. That just says, Roman needs to be a little bit more, he needs to be on point, right? But we know that Roman, has a feet. But check this out. So total yards per game, 136 as opposed to 193, right? Tackles per game, looks like Sabres averaging 6.3. Elavan Spinoza is averaging 7, so that's really, really close. And then Dylan is averaging 1. And then I'm not even going to pronounce number 52's name, Ojo. That's his last name. Ojo's averaging 1. And then Christopher Washington, points per game with 7.6. Let's run up to 8. And then Nick Leonard, 4.9 or 5 points. So that's kind of, where we are. And here's some of the other breakdowns, if you will, if you want to get that detailed. Not necessarily real data in terms of it translating to wins and losses. But, you can see overall we're 9-3. They're 6-6, 4-1 in league. They're 1-3 in league. Non-league, we went 3-2. They went 3-3. And so that's kind of where we are. So bottom line is we need to win this game. The stat says, hey, Pali should win. That's what the stats are saying. However, the boys still have to go out on the field. The boys still have to play the game because we don't want to be a Carson. We don't want to get 34 points scored on against us, right? Now, if they score 34 points, we just need to score 35, 36. The name of the game is score more points than them. So that's where we are, and hopefully our boys can get through and do what we need to do. Oh, you know what? I didn't even show you guys the recap. I have a wonderful recap of last week's game. Do you guys want to see it? You guys want to see it? Drop something in the comments if you want to see the replay from last Thursday. I'll wait. I will wait, man. I know I got a couple of people watching. If you want to see the replay, okay, Maureen says, yeah. All right, let's see if anyone else agrees with you, Maureen. And we'll drop, of course, I'm going to drop the video. All right, so without further ado, and you know what? Let me go ahead and shout out Casey LaScala. Casey, you know, I asked for it. Usually Casey will drop some videos to me on Saturday. I'm like, all right, cool, appreciate it. And so this afternoon, I was like, I haven't reached out to Casey because he just normally just sends them over. And so I hit him up, and within 10 minutes, Casey had about 10 videos. And so, I just put this together. Frida says, okay, Frida, I got you. Absolutely. She's like, yep, I got you. So just a shout out to Casey, dropping the videos. And then what I did, I didn't know which video was which. I just kind of randomly chose which video should go where. So, my scientific thinking was like, this is first, this is second. I just kind of jumping all around the 10 different videos. And so it's a mix of good defensive plays and even better offensive plays. They were skiing. Okay, got you. Okay, no, that's what's up. That's what's up. Maureen giving me all the details. She said they were skiing. No, that's what's up, and I just appreciate it. Sometimes when you text or email folks, you kind of expect them to get back, because if he didn't get back, I was just going to either postpone the show until maybe Wednesday. But I'm glad he did. So let me stop talking. Let me stop jaw-jacking, and let me go ahead and give you the recap of the Palisades versus Damley football game. Here you go. Enjoy. Yes, sir, man. So there you go. That was the recap from the Domily versus Pali football game this past Thursday. Oh man, yes, Frida, absolutely. They were on fire. The stands were empty. Yes, and so like I said at the top of the show, not too sure if you were watching, but according to the athletic director and one of the assistant coaches, Rocky Montz, they're going to have another food truck there. They're going to have the band there, the dance team. We're trying to get as much publicity as we can. So if you, know of some family members who want to come out and support, hey, come on out. If you know somebody who used to go to Pali years ago, tell them to come on out and support the football team. Like I said, I know it's a long time between the end of school and the beginning of the football game. So school is out, I believe, around 3:30, and normally there would be a JV game, and then the students would come over and hang out or do whatever. So I know there's a big gap in between, but they're trying to do some things, and so we'll see, but I just want everyone. We want everyone to come out and support the football team, Marine. Come on out and support the football team. So, Marine, she's making me laugh. Let me tell you why she's making me laugh, and you guys probably saw. She says, why doesn't the band have uniforms? Marine, let me tell you, when my kids first started attending Pali back in 2000, I think they started 2015 season, they had like uniforms. So I don't know. I don't know what happened to the uniforms. But I'm thankful that they're there and they're playing and they're kind of right in sync with the football team, and they're playing and doing what they normally do. We love the national anthem. We thank them for coming on out, and actually they stay for the whole game too, right? So they just don't play the national anthem and then leave. No, they stay for the whole game and watch. And so we appreciate the band staying through, hanging out with us, having a good time in the stands. Okay, Frida says, post the information. Absolutely. And you know what, Frida? I'm glad you said that you're going to help get the word out. And I have something for you real quick. They have an amazing sound. I love the way the band sounds, especially right there at the beginning of the game. I'm right there, filming during the national anthem, and I'm right there, just right in the middle of all the goodness, all the musical goodness that they have. And so it's a real treat. And no, they sound excellent. So hopefully they can get some. Hopefully they can get some unis and look a little bit better. Um, Shout out to the Dolphin mascots. Absolutely. Man, the Dolphin mascots, they're going to be there. I think they're called Louie and Dewey. I don't know. Louie and Dewey. There's two Dolphins. So, we'll see what it is. So yeah, I'll send you something. But since you said that, Lisa, I want to just share this with you. If you're not already subscribed to our Instagram page, go ahead and follow our Instagram page. We're going to put some things out, some more things this week, trying to hype up. I know all the football players and a lot of the teenagers, a lot of the students, they like to, see themselves or, do stuff on Instagram. So we'll put some graphics out. And if you're on Instagram, please go ahead and follow us, Pali HS Football. If you want to get us over on TikTok, you can come over to TikTok and we'll, find us there. And then also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe to This Week in Pali Football. And what I need to do is go ahead and put these recaps on the YouTube channel so that they can be there for, for as long as YouTube exists, I guess. So, yeah, so those are some different ways that you can find Pali Football. She says, let me go ahead to my comment screen real quick. She says, class of '79 class of '79 had a uniform when I was there before COVID. Yeah, I've seen the uniforms, and they've performed in the unis, but it's all good. I'm just thankful that they're there, and hopefully they can, at some point, very soon they can get some unis. I doubt they'll get unis before Friday though. Okay, I doubt they get unis before Friday, but we want y'all to come on out and support this wonderful effort. Again, Let me go over here to the updates as we begin to close the show. If you're unable, or if you're in the stands, now just know that there's a lag time between the real deal happening on the field and the Facebook feed. It's probably about 15 to 20 seconds, right? So you will hear it and see it, but it's going to be a little bit a delay. They call that a lag or latency, actually. That's the industry word, latency, because it has to travel through whatever, channels, and then it kind of bounces back to you guys, back to the phone. So, just know there's about a 20-second latency, but you can always hang out in the stands. If you're at home watching, doing what you normally do, eating popcorn. If you can't make it, you're sick, hey, just go over to Pali HS Football, and you can watch the football game. And let's see what else. Frida's still talking about the uniforms. And then again, this coming Friday, kickoff is at 7:30. It's going to be a very, 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 very important game. Again, we want to make it to the city championship, and we haven't been in the city championship for quite some time. So we want you to come on out and support the Pali football team in their quest to win a ring. Hashtag win 4. So if we can win 3 on Friday and then get to the championship. Now, let me give you a preview real quick, okay? And then we're going to close out. So here's our two opponents who we'll potentially face if we win, right? We'll face Granada Hills because they're the number 1 seed, and then we'll either face Granada Hills or we'll face Cleveland High School. Now, we played Cleveland at the beginning of the school year. It didn't pan out too well for us, but I think now our boys have they've gone through the whole season. They have a better sense of what they need to do and how to play together. And so that might be a little different situation. Granada Hills, we did not play this year like we normally do. We normally have the Charter Bowl, right? The Charter Bowl is between Palisades and Granada Hills. However, there was a fire on either Thursday or Friday that earlier during that day, they called the game off because of, I guess, fire or smoke that was in the air. They didn't want to reschedule. Now, I remember a couple of years ago when there were fires, we were playing Venice. The game was called on a Friday night. However, the adults in the room, the adults said, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and reschedule the game for a Monday afternoon. So, there could have been an opportunity to have a Monday afternoon game with Granada. No, we get a chance to play. So if we win on Friday, we have a chance to play Granada or Cleveland. So we'll see, okay? Other than that, let me dig back in the comments really, really quick, and then we're going to close out the show tonight, okay, guys? And I appreciate you guys watching. Will they get marching tees and wear jeans? No say? No, I have no idea. I have no idea. Hey Frida, I'm just right here with football. I appreciate the band from afar. I don't know. Hopefully they'll dress warm. Okay. Hopefully they'll dress warm. All right. Hey guys, I think that's it. I appreciate you guys watching tonight. Hopefully we've answered some of your questions about, what's going to happen this coming Friday. The two teams that are involved in Friday's contest, Narbonne versus Palisades. And hopefully we just want you to come on out. We want the stadium to be full, so pack the stadium. Hey, Lisa, I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate those of you who are going to watch the replay. And matter of fact, if you're going to watch, or if you're watching the replay, do me a favor, just put in hashtag replay squad. And those of you who are watching right now, I appreciate you. Maureen, thank you. I appreciate you. Hopefully we'll see you in the stadium on Friday. And, nothing but good positive energy for the boys as they prepare this week for their semifinal contest against Narbonne. So it's going to be a great game, and we're looking forward to a wonderful Friday evening. All right. So other than that, thank you for watching. You guys stay warm, stay dry, and as always, go Pally. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Hey, win on me, win on three. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Win! Oh, yeah! Stop playing with a P! Stop playing with a P! Stop playing with a P! Stop playing with a P!